Hello and welcome to another Intelligent Travel Health Safety Security and Risk Management Education tutorial. In this session we're going to be looking and discussing at incidents. Incidents tend to be overly prescriptive. Too many educators or too many travellers and corporates themselves insist on very specific scenarios and response mechanisms and processes and actions on. The problem with that is it's much the same as crisis plans or developing a playbook, so to speak, is that it can become quite voluminous. In the end, your objective seems to be to turn every single individual into a travel, health, safety, security and risk management professional and expert in their own right, and that's simply unpractical. The reality is that for most travellers, both business and leisure, if you focus on the most significant or critical incidents, then you're nearly 99% ready. And what that means is if you focus on a critical medical incident, for example, that is you've got serious blood loss, unconsciousness, you need immediate assistance. If you simply apply that to any and all circumstances and every destination activity that you take, and you have a corresponding plan, you have a degree of preparedness, then irrespective of the mechanism or trigger that causes the particular incident, then you're far more prepared than if you simply didn't approach it, but it covers you for the majority of incidents, regardless of the mechanism. Now, if you apply the same process to a violent crime, physical crime, for example, they're not necessarily one and the same, but a particular encounter where there's a confrontation or the potential of encounter. Again, if you've got a formulated response, if you're prepared and you understand the basic principles and your best options under those circumstances, then again, that prepares you for 99% of instances, irrespective of whether it's an armed bandit somewhere in an emerging economy, whether it's a mugging somewhere in a street late at night in a first world developed country or city, the principles are much the same. The same thing applies to natural disasters, for example. So if you are prepared for loss of power, potentially no access to food, minor injuries, no communications, all those sorts of things, again, it now negates the triggers or the circumstances that led to that particular event. You are prepared. You have redundancy in communications. You have alternate communication plans. You've got supply of water and food. All those sorts of things that if you prepare for the critical incidents, and it's not just a case of hope for the best and plan for the worst, it's about identifying those top 4 or 5 incidents, those top half a dozen things that are going to cause major issue, whether it be medical, whether it be security, whether it be moving, communications, all those sorts of things. And then by virtue of preparedness at that level and understanding, whilst not emphasising that kidnapping is likely to occur to 100% of travellers, again, that's simply not practical and it's certainly not true. But being prepared for specific circumstances means that you're going to negate or be prepared for the majority of them and certainly all of the lesser events. You now have the option to escalate and engage the plan that you had in advance. And that's the secret formula to preparing for incidents. It's not prescribing to every possible scenario. It's actually distilling down the core principles and problems associated with less than a dozen, and you're more often than not going to be 99% prepared for just about everything. So once again, thanks very much for joining us for this education tutorial on travel, health, safety, security and risk management. For more information and further tutorials like this, please visit our website at www.intelligenttravel.com.au. Thank you and goodbye.